if you could just humor me for a second, take 5 seconds and just look around the room and note the age, the average age of those present. And again, what you'll notice is we're missing a certain group of people. We're missing the youth. They are not here because largely they don't know about this information. And Elder Rasband, the president in the presidency of the 70, he was at a BYU stake conference only about a month ago. And in this stake conference, he told the youth present that the first presidency of the church, they, quote, lose sleep over one thing. And that's the youth of the church. Sorry, I don't mean to burst your bubble or anything, but the first presidency, they're not really worried too much about you. They're just not. They love you deeply, they care about you, they pray for you, but they're not worried about you. All the adults here, I dare say, been members for a long time. You have testimonies of the Book of Mormon and the divine calling of our prophet Joseph Smith. It's the youth of the church that are in trouble. It's the youth of the church that don't yet have those testimonies, and they're relying largely on the testimonies of their parents, their seminary teachers, institute teachers, etc., until they gain a testimony of their own. If you were paying attention to last General Conference 6 months ago, you might remember President Packer's talk specifically targeting the youth. And in it he said, quote, "The youth are being raised in enemy territory." And how true that is. The world the youth are being raised in today is so vastly different and so foreign to the world that you grew up in, we might as well say they're aliens from another planet. It's that different. And a large reason for that is because of the advent of the internet. Only 20 years ago, this became available to the public. And what you, as a youth, would have to go completely out of your way to try and find, it now finds you. It comes into your homes. It enters your children's bedrooms. And the youth at a younger and younger age are being exposed to it. And I'm not just talking about pornography. We all recognize that that is a terrible problem for the youth. More specifically, me personally, I'm talking about the availability and accessibility of anti-Mormon literature and documentation. The documentaries that are now available online by the hundreds. I'm going to give you one example of this. If anyone's gone on YouTube, you probably have already seen the church's official page, I Am a Mormon. By raise of hands, who here has seen the videos, I Am a Mormon? Okay, we got about half in there. They're the ones that at the end, they always tell their story and they say, I'm a football player, I'm a painter, I'm a husband, a father, and I'm a Mormon. Okay? Around the same time that the church started I Am a Mormon, an anti-Mormon group started another channel page called I Am an Ex-Mormon. And how sad it is that I Am an Ex-Mormon has on some of their videos, they have more view counts and certainly more positive ratings than I Am a Mormon. These videos are being watched by the youth of the church by the hundreds of thousands. And the youth, again, when they don't have that testimony, they don't have that strength, a lot of them become discouraged. And I've seen videos on I Am an Ex-Mormon where the people come out and say, I left the church because there is no evidence for the Book of Mormon. There is no DNA evidence. Because they've come across this documentary called DNA versus the Book of Mormon, where they come out and say it. There's no DNA evidence for the Book of Mormon in Mesoamerica.
They're right.
It's false, right? And just as Rod Meldrum was saying, if the Book of Mormon is not true, and it is true, by the way, thank you, then the entire Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is also not true. This is the foundation upon we are built. So, what I'd like to say is, when an adult comes across anti-Mormon literature or documentation, because of your testimony, a large part of you can ignore it, push it away, justify it, rationalize it. It doesn't bother you. The youth are totally different. when they come across this information, it discourages them. And they are leaving the church at an exponential rate. They are leaving the church by the thousands. And we need to do our part to hang on to these precious, precious souls of our Father in heaven. They are our brothers and they are our sisters, and we love them dearly. And we feel very, very strongly that the information of the Firm Foundation, what we have found in support of the Book of Mormon, can really help these souls stay in the church, stay strong in the faith. This information will always still be a theory until the church says otherwise. Of course, we can't present this as doctrine to the youth. We can't do that. It's a theory, but it's a powerful theory. And we don't need to pull it or stretch it or twist it or change it or force it to fit. It just fits. It fits perfectly with the Book of Mormon and with the Nephite people. And when we present this information to the youth, it gives them another weapon, a sword, if you will, in their arsenal that they can use to defend themselves, defend their testimonies, and defend the church. If you haven't seen up here at the front, there's a painting of the Book of Mormon account of the 2,000 stripling warriors. The youth of the Book of Mormon, quite literally. Youth that were so strong in their convictions and so firm in the faith that they were instrumental in defending their people, defending their country, and defending their religion. That's what we need today. We need stripling warriors in the church today. We need an entire generation of stripling warriors. And a lot of you might be thinking, well, maybe the main reason why the youth aren't here today is because they're not interested in this information. They're too busy playing their PlayStations and Xboxes and they're just not interested. I'm here to tell you that that's not true. That's not true at all. They're not here because they don't know about this information. They don't know. I'm going to tell you a personal story. My younger brother, he's just barely over the age of high school. He's now attending at BYU, just barely over the age of high school. And it was only a couple weeks ago that I had the first opportunity to present this information to him. He'd never heard of it before, ever. And I only talked with him for about half an hour, and I just presented the spiritual evidence, the prophecies and promises contained in the Book of Mormon about the Promised Land and the people that would inhabit the Promised Land. And after half an hour, he was so convinced, I found out about this later, he was so convinced that he went back home to BYU, where he wrote up a paper, an assignment paper for one of his BYU Institute teachers about this subject, and it just so happens that that Institute teacher is a member of FARMS. So I don't know the rest of that story. I don't know if he got a bad grade on that, but he probably did because of biased opinions. But the point is, the youth are ready for this information. As soon as I was talking to him about it, you just feel it. You feel it in your heart, you feel it in your soul, you feel that it's right. And he caught the fire immediately. He was on fire immediately, and he wanted to know more. And I've had the amazing opportunity to watch him grow in this information. And I've been with him every step of the way, sharing it the entire time. So the youth are ready. So what we're going to be doing, myself in particular, again with the blessing of the Firm Foundation and Rod Meldrum here, is starting immediately, I'm going to start going around the valley, Salt Lake and Utah valleys, and I'm going to be meeting with the high school level seminary directors and seminary teachers. And the goal here is not so much to convert them to our cause and to our beliefs about the heartland geography. That's not the goal precisely. The main goal is simply to convince them of the danger that their students are in. Because they are in danger. As President Packer said, they are being raised in enemy territory. We convince them of the danger their students are in, and we get permission through them, through the seminary directors, to begin presenting this information directly to the students in their seminary classes. And some of you might be saying, I don't know if you could do that, but I'm here to tell you that I know you can, because I have gone to seminary for many years, and I've gone to institute for many years, and I have attended seminars and presentations for Mesoamerica. So if they can do presentations for Mesoamerica with a whole lack of evidence they have, we can do this with the mounds of evidence we have. So, thank you. And I just want to finish up with kind of my personal story and my personal testimony, and I don't even believe that Rod Meldrum knows this, but it's true. And it's one of the foundational reasons why I want to do this, because if I am able to do this, and I present this information to, one high school a week, that will be averaging 700 to 1,000 youth of the church every single week that will be hearing this information, and coming to a firmer understanding of the Book of Mormon. So this is my story. I served my mission in Hong Kong, China. And when I came home, I'm not going to go into the details about how or why, just suffice it to say that I came home to people who were prejudiced, members of the church who certainly didn't welcome me. And I didn't feel loved or welcomed by them. And as a result, I became offended. And because I became offended, I went inactive. And I was inactive for 5 years. Now, I never denied my testimony to the church. I still knew it was true. I still had my testimony in the Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith. But I went inactive. I was out there in the midst of darkness. I was out there in the world. And it's cold and dark, and I can testify of that. And it was during those 5 years that I came not particularly in contact with Rod Meldrum, personally, but with the Firm Foundation and the information they had. And the information they had it felt right from the beginning. But it wasn't enough to get me to go back to church, per se. But it was the catalyst which inspired me to go back to rereading the Book of Mormon. Now, before this point, I'd read the Book of Mormon a dozen times. And I knew the stories, and I knew the people, and I knew it was true. But when I read it again, with this information, the Firm Foundation up here and in here, I am telling you that the Book of Mormon was a completely new book for me. It was as if I had never in my entire life read that book. It was no longer a story about a hypothetical people in a hypothetical location. It was real. Real people, real location. And it became relevant and applicable to me in my life. And it was because of that I came back to church. And I've been active now for nearly 2 years. So, I just want to thank Rod Meldrum for that. Now, I believe that I am living proof that this information is vital. It is critical. And it does have the ability to change lives and lead souls to Christ. And that is my theme. That's what my motto is for the Firm Foundation. The Firm Foundation is not about saving lives. It's about saving souls. You got it. It's about saving souls. I know that it was instrumental in saving mine.